Hello everyone, this is my journal for DPA 740 Week 2 in Collaborative Governance. And why do we collaborate? The two questions that we have here are, will there be better outcomes if we collaborate? Will there be more resources if we collaborate? And I found the answer in the first week of our reading in the Donahue and Zeckhauser book on page 4, and the answer is, when well applied, the collaborative approach can be a powerful lever for creating public value. The case I like to discuss is one that I was involved with last year in a patrol environment and a SWAT team call out. This is an actual photo of our command post taken by one of our local media outlets. What you have is a residential street, and what had occurred was our officers had pursued a armed carjacking suspect. The suspect led the officers in a prolonged pursuit which ended in a crash in this residential neighborhood. Well, the suspect exited the vehicle and ran from the vehicle, ultimately breaking into a residence and barricading himself. Subject was later found to be armed with a 9mm pistol. He was a parolee at large, and unfortunately, the house that he broke into, the residents were home. So the initial issue of the pursuit and the breaking and entering into the residence to avoid capture was compounded by hostage taking. So now we're contending with the safety of not only the public, but of the residents within the residence. So this involves a pretty large containment where we have a outer perimeter, an inner perimeter, and we have a SWAT team deployment. So what you see in the photo is the command post, which is set back approximately 75 yards from the target location. And in the photo is the SWAT team's equipment vehicle, several black and white pursuit vehicles. The smaller armored vehicle to the left is what we call a peacekeeper, and the larger armored vehicle behind it is what we refer to as a Lenco Bearcat. So when we're dealing with the resources in our own organization, the manpower, equipment, things of that nature are limited. It's not endless, it's not unlimited, it's finite. So in situations where we may need relief or a larger response, we have to call upon our allied partners, typically our neighboring agencies, through a mutual aid activation, or just through a singular or dual city police agency activation, typically our neighboring agencies such as West Covina and Baldwin Park. Within our own organization, we have our SWAT team, pursuit vehicles, negotiators, and helicopters. However, those resources can be stretched pretty thin as the barricade and the hostage situation drags on. So, through a collaborative effort, typically through mutual aid, more resources are available, and we typically call upon West Covina and Baldwin Park for assistance, or Baldwin Park will call us, or West Covina, vice versa. It's all reciprocal. So, with more resources, it allows for a more comprehensive containment and search elements. So, not only do we deploy our own K9 units for the search, we call in, for example, West Covina, and they'll bring several more search dogs to complement our own. So the searches can be broken down into smaller boxes, search boxes, so that mitigates the problem of having K9 fatigue and handler fatigue. Helicopters, we can bring in relief pilots from other organizations, other officers from other organizations for containment purposes, and so on. And when we deploy with agencies from our mutual aid area who provide us with additional resources, we all bring a different piece to the puzzle, and when put together, it's to accomplish the mission of public safety and the apprehension of the suspect. And resources such as our Lenco Bearcat, an armored vehicle. And what's better than one is when you call an agency and they bring theirs, and now we have two. So we can use one for the target location where we have a point officer that monitors the residents, and we can use a secondary armored vehicle to evacuate neighboring households. And ultimately, the mission or the goal is the apprehension of the suspect and public safety. And this is the actual booking photo of the suspect that we're looking for. And when he appeared in court, he didn't look like that. He had makeup covering his lipstick on his forehead, grew out a mustache, and wore a really high collar. But that's a side point. But what you see in the photo in the left bottom corner is the cooperation amongst the multiple SWAT teams that converged in our city to help us accomplish this mission.